Hey guys, so I am back with another quick video today. I say quick, I'm not actually sure how long this is going to be. I'm going to show you how I do the skin of this little fairy. This is Jasmine Becket-Griffith page, and I thought it's a nice small one to show you how I do pale skin. So she's going to be quite pale and she's going to be fair. And this tutorial, it's a skin tone I use all the time, and it's quite simple. It's relatively simple, and I hope both beginners and seasoned colorists alike will find it useful. We're going to start with some peach. Oh, sorry, light peach. I've actually, look how far sharpened down this is. Good grief. So this is a Prismacolor. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to base the whole face really, really lightly. This combo is going to use Prismacolor and Luminance. I very rarely do skin in only one brand. And all beach is going to be pale. Don't forget the ears. I still want this base layer to cover everything. And then we'll figure out the highlights after. You probably can't see anything at all with the lighting. I can see a very, very faint layer. Next pencil we're going to be using is this one, Burnt Ochre 10%. So this is the Luminance. And with this colour, I'm going to plan my shadows. Again, that's probably hardly coming up on, but it is there with paler skin tones. Everything's done very lightly. So in her, the shadows are going to be here underneath the hair, passing here and underneath the eye, both sides of the face here, the ears will be slightly in shadow there underneath the hairline, underneath the nose. Gonna have some. Either side of her nose. Jasmine gives her girls little button noses. Right. Gonna come down sides of the cheeks. There. Leave the chin. That part of the chin we're going to leave. Going to come up that side of the cheek there. And I'm leaving a very slight gap between this line and where I'm actually basing the shadow. You'll see it with the darker colours better. But that's for the reflected light on the side of the chin. Right, okay, so shadows here. In the eyebrow, top of the eyelid, in there. Okay. Right. I'm just planning this out. I'm doing this live with you. So with Jasmine's girls, she doesn't really give them noses, but that makes creating realistic shading a bit tricky. So we'll go with that for now. You're going to see this better as I start adding in the proper shadow tones. Okay. Next up I've got, oh, sorry, I'm not used to this zoom. Burnt Sienna 10%, which is also Luminance. Now, you can use the Prismacolor Clay Rose. Was it, hang on, the Clay Rose? No, sorry, Rosy Beige. No, Rosy Beige is the equivalent of this. But I find, I don't know if anybody else has this with their Prismacolor Rosy Beige, it gives off this like blue-green streaks. It's really weird. So I've stopped using mine at the moment and I've swapped over for this one. It's almost the exact same colour. And I don't get any of those weird streaks. Okay, so you should be able to start seeing where I'm putting the shadow now. Using a light hand because I want to build up this skin. This is basically the same method I use for both Hannah Lynn and Jasmine's girls. If I was doing this on a more realistic portrait, I'd be putting in some more of the sort of facial details a bit more accurately, the cheekbones, nose, brow, etc. But that's kind of what I like about these illustrations. They don't actually require you to be that precise. So they're really good to practice on. On either side of the chin, here on the lips, here, it dips in, so there is shadow here because that's how this chin protrudes, and there is ever so slight shadow underneath the lip there. Okay, so I'm just going to go back and deepen that again. Those little creases underneath the eye. Okay. Hopefully now you can see that slight edge between that line there and the actual shadow. Okay. Time for a Prismacolor again. Clay Rose. So this is about one shade deeper. this is when I can really start to define where I want in deep shadow. I'm going to probably be a bit careful in these areas because I want to add a little bit of makeup underneath the eyes to follow Jasmine's painting. I always like using her original paintings as a reference when I do my own. That's where I get a lot of my colour ideas from. Right. I'm going to come back in with the Burnt Ochre 10%. To blend this out a bit. On a face, the important parts to remember are the cheeks will have highlight, the nose here will have highlight, and this part of the brow and the chin. It's very hard to see on this one because she has such a small chin. But those, and then light will also hit dependent on the direction of the light, but on a portrait like this, light will also hit these parts of the brow just above the eye. So, let's see, where am I going to go from here? I think I'm going to bring back in the light peach. I'm going to talk about those highlights I was just talking about. So, that means I want to block in a bit of this now. So I'm actually going to come across the nose here, because the forehead sort of juts out here, blocking the light onto the top of the nose. And then I'm going to go out in sort of a ovular shape up here. Again, this is just how I do my Jasmine girls. Right, okay, that looks good. Like I said, you probably can't see that much of that on screen. I don't think, even if maybe if I tilted it a bit, but it should make more sense in a minute once I get some dark tones on. All right, this is going to come a bit of a surprise. Light cobalt blue. And this probably sounds crazy. Why am I adding blue? Well, the shadows in the skin often carry blue, especially in people who are pale. And it's a colour I love adding to pale skin. By adding colour into the highlights, you naturally just make it look more realistic. Because, sorry, not highlights, it's the shadows. The shadows are never just one colour. And don't worry, I block in these lines again with a pen or a sharp black pencil. I don't mind going over them. And also in the original painting that Jasmine did of this, the girl does seem to have sort of blue undertones to her skin, which I think is the shadow. I think you can see that pretty well. I'll be back in to blend this out anyway, so yeah. Okay, so back with the Burnt Sienna 10%, or Rosy Beige if you're using it. Like I said, we're going to blend this out. And that really is the key to skin. It's just layers, layers and more layers. Do not rush it. Do not use heavy pressure to begin with. If you're just burnishing at the end, you can go a bit heavier. I probably will once I get there, but for natural looking skin tones, you need to take your time. I probably sound a bit strange in this video because I'm concentrating and trying to speak at the same time. And it also means, for instance, if I hadn't been happy with the shape of this nose, thankfully I managed it first time round because I've done quite a few of Jasmine's images. But if I hadn't been happy, it gives me the opportunity to erase. And you can erase colour pencil if you've gone lightly. If you go in heavy straight away, you can't change it. But if you go in lightly to begin with, you can change it if you think, oh, the cheekbone's in the wrong place, or I didn't do that nose very well. Okay, next, Peach. This is a bit of a warmer mid-tone. Still not too warm though, because she is supposed to be pale. You can see how much I do skin just by how far sharpened these skin tones are. They're teensy tiny pencils. Okay, I'm gonna go in here. I'm gonna be quite light about it. Like I said, this is to block in that area of shadow. Well, it's not shadow, it's just where the light isn't as bright. I want to add colour to the parts of the skin that will have colour, and then you'll have more. You're actually going to have white, basically going to be white highlights. On pale skin, it's fine to have white highlights. On tan skin, I'd probably do more like a buff titanium highlight. Actually, I also use buff titanium when I'm doing dark skin highlights. I do want to do dark skin as well. I want to show how I do that. Okay. Back with the light peach. So I'm more of a medium pressure now, because I do want to blend. I don't spend ages on the skin of my Jasmine girls. They are cartoony, so I don't feel there's a huge need to be realistic. Hopefully you can see the layers of colour come out quite nicely now. Another bit you want to actually leave white is this little corner of the eye here. I mean, that's where if you do eyeshadow, you always put a highlighter on these parts. And you should always leave those bits quite white. Right, I think it's time for sepia. Now this is a very dark colour, so a light hand is key. But it's a cold brown. And I find it's really good for those intense shadows where you want things to be darkest. Come back in with 10% Burnt Sienna. Oh, actually, I think I'll grab Clay Rose again. Clay Rose is closer. Just to create her button nose. Okay. Right. So, next up, Buff Titanium. And albeit this has got a creamy undertone, so I especially use it for tan skin tones. I do usually add it over the peach. I'm going to add it over the peach layers, but I am going to avoid the white. This is going to help blend the peaches into one another. And then I've got white. And this is to smooth it out. So you can use, generally, if you're happy at this point, you can generally just use quite a hard pressure. And this also helps to make pale skin pale, because by going it over almost all of it in white, you naturally tone down even the shadow colours. Okay. And go back with 10% Burnt Ochre. And this is the thing now, once you're at a stage where you like it, you just go back in and fiddle. You know, is that shadow deep enough? Do I want that highlight brighter? Actually, no. Where's my peach? I'll spend ages fiddling until I get it just how I want it. I want to do that because otherwise this video will become just boring me picking up pencil after pencil. But I think I'm more or less happy with this now. Because I want it pale anyway, it's not going to have a ton of layers. Another highlighted section is these bit parts above the lips. That's why I'm leaving those. Do that button nose. Oh, I'll probably play around with this a bit more off camera, but that is generally how I do a pale skin tone. And yes, it uses 2 different brands, but it really is worth it. The only skin I can actually do in one brand is with Polychromos. All others I will use a mixture for. Well, I hope, you know, you can see how simple this is. I've done a face in 20 minutes, so it's not scary. Don't be afraid of skin. Practice on little pages like this. Jasmine Becket-Griffith, Hannah Lynn, Disney princesses. Practice on something that isn't that realistic, so you're not afraid of noses, ears, cheekbones. Don't be afraid of skin. Don't be afraid of the facial structure. Look at your own face in the mirror. Look at how the light hits it. And that will help you with where you place things. Where you place your shadows, where you place your highlights. This is how I've done this quick skin tone. And I hope it is helpful. I hope you can give it a go. You could do it almost completely in Prismacolor. You don't need, I mean, you can pick something like, I don't know, powder blue. That's quite similar to this. Like I said, Rosy Beige instead of the 10% burnt Sienna. The only Prismacolor, the only luminance that I really love is the 10% burnt ochre. But apart from that, you could do it completely in Prismacolor. I just do these brands because this is how I'm comfortable doing it. I hope that was useful. Let me know if you've got any questions down below in the comments about anything skin related. And I do have plans to show a tan and a dark skin tone at some point. So I hope that was helpful and you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next video.